Have you ever worked at a company where your mood instantly dropped as soon as you walked into the door? Did you spend your workdays forcing smiles and counting down the minutes until you could leave? If so, you likely worked within a negative team culture. Negative team cultures can feel overwhelming, but regardless of how bad things are, you can still turn them around with the right strategy. So, how's that done? You'll need to understand the symptoms as well as how to alleviate them. There are several telltale signs of negative team culture. First, you may notice some overarching unhappiness, including moments of employee frustration, stress, anxiety, and burnout. And with that unhappiness, employees may also be unmotivated and appear bored and apathetic. Or they might even fear speaking up and sharing their thoughts. Also, rather than working together, team members may show signs of unhealthy competition, zero camaraderie, and even socially harmful behaviors like gossiping or bullying. Finally, you may spot signs of top-down communication, workplace favoritism, suspicion and mistrust, and ultimately, a higher turnover. The more of those signs you notice within your organization, the more likely it is you're working within a negative team culture. So, what can you do about that? How can you transform a negative team culture into a positive one? To transform a negative team culture, you'll want to follow 4 steps. First, identify what problems you're facing. When following this step, keep in mind that our opinion, while valuable, isn't enough. So, hold a team meeting, hear from everyone, and come to a group consensus. Next, uncover why those culture problems exist. During this stage, dig a little deeper to determine what shared policies, values, and actions are supporting those toxic behaviors. And to get the most accurate and honest assessment, consider gathering that information through anonymous employee surveys. Now that you know what problems you're experiencing, as well as why those problems exist, the next step is to tackle the issues head-on, which brings us to step 3. Step 3 is to create a repair strategy. The strategy you choose should depend on your team's diagnosis. For example, if your team is experiencing a discrimination problem, you might focus on helping employees build their emotional intelligence with courses, workshops, and sensitivity trainings. Another idea that you might try is adjusting your company policies so that everyone is treated equally. Or you may incorporate transparent communication policies to reduce confusion and information hoarding. You might also place an emphasis on encouraging cooperation by giving more team-based assignments, praising employees for working together, and holding team-building activities. Regardless of which strategies you choose, compile that list and confirm with your team members that you're all on the same page. Then, move on to the final step. The last step is to implement your plan. During this stage, don't try to fix everything at once, as that may overwhelm your team. Instead, tackle the biggest problems first. Then, once those strategies are in place, move on to the smaller elements of your repair strategy. No one wants to admit their team culture is negative. But if that's the reality you're facing, you must confront those problems before they get out of control. So, meet with your team and follow the steps we just covered. Also, be persistent, as that's the key to turning things around for the better.